We're live! Back. Magnificent. Back on the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you ever so much. I do apologise for that. This is the part 2, as the part 1 had to be... we had some technical difficulties with our streaming.
Yep, slight
Wi-Fi
alien invasion there.
I think. So, and then our stream found it difficult to reconvene itself back with the live connection. But yeah, welcome back, and thank you very much. Oh, the single reviewer has returned.
Whoever you may be. Oh no, we need new likes.
There should be like another 2 popping on hopefully soon. I don't know. We're upset with the 1.
We should have pimped ourselves more on social media.
I should have been more of a whore.
Where was Oprah?
Oh, let's have some more of those. This is wonderful. We've just had a big pull, as it were, of the liquor.
Incredibly smooth beverage.
Amazing. So smooth. It's going down far too easily. That's the problem with the old top shelf. Sometimes it does.
Oh, yes.
It'll get you. It'll get you.
It's the alcohol's fault. It's because it was too nice and expensive and fancy. That's why we were drinking at 1 o'clock.
The man takes a drink. The drink takes the drink. The drink takes the man. Island.
Beautiful.
It's an old Irish proverb, that. But
is it really?
Yeah, it's probably
a bit like the
Joycean or
stare into the abyss and it stares back into you. That is the abyss in the bottom of a pint of Guinness.
Dude, you're so correct. I always drink that though. That's one of my favorite parts of the Guinness is the ever so slightly room temperature warmer part of the bottom. I love that.
Okay, I found as a bit of a...
Everybody likes the first pull, but everybody goes to the first pull. I like my first. The last bit.
It's different. It's got its part within the drink. I find some of them, being a bit of a craft ale hipster myself, some of the more sedimenty ones with the quicksand at the bottom. I don't know if you've ever experienced. There's certain beers that they recommend you never ever turn upside down because it mixes they have this stuff called sediment.
A bit like wine.
Kind of.
When you turn them and it lets the sediment kind of roll a bit.
You want it all to be settled at the bottom, and then when you pour it, you don't get any of it because it kind of gives you where they've just been like, and don't turn it on its side or you'll ruin it. You're not worthy. Don't. Oh no.
Your connection's unstable.
Right. That was scary. Yeah, I think we might actually break the capacity of YouTube streaming service with the length of our conversation.
Yeah, definitely with the YouTube package, membership package that I have anyway. I mean, that'll probably happen.
You need I've got
premium on one of them, just not this one. I don't know why I chose this account to not do it because I do pay for premium on my other account.
That's more to do with watching than making, isn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah,
it really pisses me off. I get that advert on my phone all the time where it's like, you close YouTube and it stops the video that you're playing and it just says, hey, you want to watch it in the background? That would be a handy feature, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be cool if we'd already invented that? You got to pay us, though.
You got to pay some money.
Yeah.
Like Louis C.K. How much does it cost? Money. It's one of my favourite sketches of all time. I
can't remember what he's talking about in that sketch.
Neither can I. It was really good, though.
Oh, dude, Louis C.K. He's an
so good.
I don't really care about his masturbation habits. Like, that's bad and everything, but I don't want to wipe him off the face of the planet.
It's not cool, but I mean, his contributions to comedy had, for me, far outdwarf any weirdness that he gets up to off stage. I mean, judging by
still
what I've heard from, I mean, still not cool. Have a lot more. What's that word? Decorum. I think conduct yourself with a lot more decorum around. The
thing is, you meet some guy in the pub, you'll be perfectly nice and polite to him and respectful because you don't know anything about him. But just because you do know that one thing about Louis C.K., a lot of people are ready to hate him. It's like, judge not lest ye be judged. Person.
Maybe he was hanging around with too many dudes. He was like, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? And I see that chick from the office. I'm just so totally just going to start masturbating. Oh my God, man, that'd be so funny if you do. You should just do that. You should just do that. No.
He's got that jock frat boy mentality, but in the comedy world where he's
I'm 40 years old. He's just still doing it. Yeah, keg stand, man.
Meanwhile, doing comedy about his kids and his ex-wife.
Dude, this thing is just slide him. There's no point in it.
Oh, then working. I've got mine kind of directly over the top and it won't lean so much because it's a funny shaped clamp.
I don't know how I'm gonna.
That's the one.
Nice.
Had some good thinking there, Bob.
Like where your head's at. It is awesome. Particularly good cheese. It all goes well together as well.
Does. It's one of those things. It's like the equivalent of like a pregnancy craving. You just know what you want. There's no logic behind why it's going to work.
That we would know what that is like. But,
yeah, but when report that during pregnancy, you just know that you want to eat almonds or whatever it is, and nothing else will do. And it turns out later on that it's because your baby had an almond deficiency and you needed more of that particular nutrient or mineral or whatever it is. Like they have this instinctive knowledge of what they need to eat for the best health of the baby, or at least that's how I understand it. Like
apparently Guinness is good for that.
What, for pregnancy?
Apparently so.
I doubt it.
No, because of it's apparently it's got a very high iron content. So if
possibly,
lose a lot of blood, I mean post pregnancy, I'm probably just
sorry, I thought you meant during pregnancy.
No.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
When I was pregnant.
I'm not Irish, so I can't comment. But
sorry, Jack is ringing me. Should we get him live on the phone?
Oh, I think we should.
Yo, dude, you're live on the podcast right now. Yeah, we just took a phone call, dude.
What's going on, Jack? Welcome to the show.
Welcome in. We have our first caller in.
Oh, you should definitely have a call-in segment. You know, Stoner would be straight on that.
Stoner. Right, mate. Yeah.
But I just want to know.
Will, your hat looks really stupid. Sorry, dude.
You play that song with the roller coaster?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat yourself, please?
Did you play that song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the roller coaster?
You mean Love Roller Coaster? Yeah, absolutely. So I can put that record on for you next, and that will be a very large copyright.
No, don't say that.
No, God, we've already said the name of it.
Get the electric tape.
Oh God, I can hear the lawyers' footsteps on the floor below. They're coming up the stairs.
I can hear the rumbling in their bellies for our money.
If you're live, I'll leave it there, but let you know I'm on my way home.
All right, dude. Okay, cool, baby.
See you soon.
We'll see you soon, dude.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Guest star.
Yeah. Oh, new subscriber. Jack Leather subscriber. You can tell he's on his phone.
Let's go.
He's about. Yeah.
Could have just left a comment.
No, he couldn't.
I know you can't. It's turned off.
Is it? Did I turn it off?
I think you turned it off originally, didn't you? Oh, no, it's on now.
I'm just wondering whether or not it's turned itself back on.
I think it
does do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's here on now because you can leave one yourself.
What's your favorite type of cheese?
Absolutely camembert.
Are you just gonna put that out there? Just let anybody, any average Joe message in, aren't you?
I believe
you've opened the doors, Ben.
That's not my name.
I had a flashback to my past podcast.
Oh, was that an in-joke? Sorry, I didn't get it.
No. I genuinely messed up right there in that scenario, but I'm covering it for it now.
Good job.
Yeah. So but Ben, we had the comment section, and he put his phone there, which was like a live, and he live streamed on my live stream with his phone there.
So he had two separate live streams.
It was really weird.
I don't get it.
Like,
I haven't watched that one yet. So.
Oh no, it was good. I had a great time. It was very fun. We drank had a few beers, and just discussed some things like CS:GO and like music and what his favorite band was. I asked him what his great question for you. I mean, there's so many fantastic questions I need to ask you.
We haven't done any talking points or prompts or anything yet. We should. Let's get some structure in.
We're gonna play that game as well. You have to ask a question, and you're only allowed to ask questions.
Yeah. Oh, we were gonna do the pun game as well. Yeah.
Pun game. Oh, I'd be terrible at that. I'm rubbish. Oh God. I don't know.
We could do it. Maybe we'll work our way into that one, but I'm gonna be shit at the questions one in this state.
Yeah, the questions one. We started pretty early. Far too early. Oh God.
No, just the right amount of early.
No, just the right amount. Absolutely. We fancied doing a bit of a Thompson's warm up.
We can have a go with the questions game. Maybe we can start. You just asked me what my favorite type of cheese is.
Yeah. Well, what is your favorite type of cheese?
Wouldn't you agree that your favorite type of cheese says a lot about you as a person?
Don't you think that's a bit of an open question?
If it was, would that be all right?
It depends what your approach to an open question would be.
kind of a statement, but I'll let one slide.
No, I'd like to think there was a question mark hanging at the end of that one, but I didn't phrase it particularly well.
We need a judge. This is why you need a young Jamie.
Well, that was bad. That was poor. Right, let's do round to you.
Okay.
All right, okay.
New topic.
What's the longest you've ever slept for?
God. A dream is I know we're not doing tag questions. Yeah, I don't want to do tag questions.
5, 4.
Doesn't it make sense that dreams are in a separate universe and therefore can't be measured on the same timescale as our ordinary experience?
How would you measure a dream?
I'm so bad at this.
You just say like when you measure it through its length or something.
I suppose that's what I mean by tag questions.
You need like wouldn't get a tag question.
Wouldn't it and isn't it and aren't they sort of questions are too easy because you just make a statement and then tag a question onto the end of it.
Well, how many times have you done that?
Yeah, that would
be.
Yeah.
I think it's always like flow. It's like
do you know what's happening in your dreams at all times?
Like god, what's it called? Oh, you're asking me.
Oh, you no, carry on.
What was that? We're talking about British radio shows from like
Radio 4.
comedy,
Yeah, we were on about. I'm sorry, I haven't a clue.
Oh, Willie Rushton. Who's the only person that he's aware of?
No relation, but yeah, the only other Rushton I know of. But and a Willie.
Oh,
like yourself.
That's the combination of us.
Oh my god, yeah, Willie Rushton is our ancestor.
Died, he was broken apart, and it made us too.
One day we will reform and go back on the show.
We will start it again. Once again,
we are a 2-man Willie Rushton.
You're like a poor man's Willie Rushton.
Oh god. No, I'm nowhere near as funny. I can't sing either.
You have such a deep voice. Really Rushton. But he's got quite a cavernous voice though, doesn't he, as well? Like kind of has a big basin to it. Like,
he would have been a good Saruman. That kind of voice.
Yeah, dude, he'd be so dope in it. Some form of fantasy epic. That would have been fantastic. It's a shame that he never got that. He snuffed it before that era.
He died quite young, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Oh, he used to wear that like lovely little red neckerchief as well. I remember that because of the cover of it, we had tapes with.
I just listened on the BBC iPlayer.
Oh, this is like before the whole BBC iPlayer thing. I remember when we had like tapes, and my brother had loads of comedy tapes that he used to get that would be put in your cassette player, and you'd listen to with headphones and stuff. And I had an invincible cassette player. I could like it just wouldn't die, and I loved it. It was so good.
You could smash it to pieces and just put it all back together.
Oh,
like
dude,
Lego.
the lid came off and it still played.
Yeah.
I just like used to.
Because it was so nice and simple. You just had like a cog, 2 cogs.
Yeah, I like felt like one of those,
and a motor.
Oh god, what was that guy with the crazy hair that used to? You're doing it. You're becoming mighty. What's his name? Oh, he used to do those instructional dance videos from the 80s for getting fit. Oh god, he's really famous. He had the big curly afro.
That describes like the stereotype. I don't know who you mean.
Yeah, but like everybody's like based off of that guy. I can never remember what his name is.
I've got no idea.
Oh, anyway, yeah, but like
Van Halen, I don't know.
I just kind of felt like him though, like just that era. Anyway, yeah, we got anyway, going back to like, I'm sorry, I'm having a clue. The tin whistles, like one song to the tune of another.
Yeah, we were trying to do Mornington Crescent yesterday, weren't we?
Oh, Mornington Crescent, yeah, Oxford Circus,
Scotland. I'm terrible. I don't go to London much, so I'm terrible at it.
No, I mean, Scotland can work. I mean, it's a Friday, isn't it? It doesn't feel like a Friday. It's like a Saturday. Yeah.
No Rules Friday. Yep.
Yeah, No Rules Friday. Okay. Marble Arch.
Well, in that case, the rain, the storm drain on the corner of 10th and Vine in New York.
New York. Very good. I was expecting Tokyo.
Next to the newsagent.
Mornington Crescent? No, I can't do Mornington Crescent yet. No.
That was close. You almost forfeited there. Nearly potted the black and the white at the same time.
Oh god, yeah. It's no colours. It's not No Colour Wednesday, is it?
It's Blind Friday.
Oh shit, yeah. Well, I probably King's Cross High Street, next with the Japanese spot on the side with heading into Trafalgar. I think I can have that. I know it's a bit of a stretch because we haven't done Portobello yet, but I mean,
you can. I'm not sure you want to, Because I saw you trying to bait me into Japan earlier.
I did.
You've
I
dropped Japan
did
now.
lay the seeds of Japan.
That changes a lot of things. Monty Crescent.
Yes, you can have Mornington Crescent. You are allowed Mornington Crescent. Yeah, well done. I doff my hat to you, sir. That is magnificent effort on your part. That was.
I learned from the best, the old Rushton genes.
Oh yeah, of course. Vladimir Flintoff, wasn't it? Yeah. Was a fine Russian cricket player. All the best.
Good old Stanislav. I don't know any other cricket players.
Who's a really famous one? The one with the big beard. From like the 19.
Ask me anything but
1800s.
sports. I don't know anything about sports.
Oh, there's a famous picture of him in the National Portrait Gallery in London.
It was W.G. Grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and you said you knew nothing about sports.
I only know him because of the Mark. Is
bastard.
it Mark Strong? There's another radio show actually. Mark somebody. He does a retrospective on important British historical figures. Mark Steele. He's got a really good bunch of series. Yeah, he does big figures in English history and world history. He does like Gandhi and W.G. Grace and I think he does Winston Churchill maybe and just other sort of revolutionary figures. And he's got a couple of different shows, but that's the only reason I know about him. And that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge is that he was English and played cricket.
Gandhi is. Thank you very much. Gandhi's magnificent.
Gandhi's an interesting man. Did you know he tried violence first and then they decided against it, apparently?
Violence.
Somebody told me that basically he was like, yeah, let's go fucking kill them all. And then somebody changed his mind or he decided it wasn't going to work. And then
I've heard some lovely things about him and his wife wasn't to the true depiction of to Ben Kingsley's depiction in Gandhi, the film. And he's fantastic.
I'm gonna
he is brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know. They got to sugarcoat it a little bit, haven't they? It's like
he was a lot nicer to his wife in the movie or something than he actually was.
They do that though. Apparently,
life.
I heard a very similar thing about the Stephen Hawking movie.
I just
not to badmouth anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I hate bad mouthing people, but I also won't.
But nobody's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer the crusts on my bread. I want the truth regardless of whatever it is.
Yeah, and if you can get over it, then that's more honest in the final analysis.
And the truth is normally more crazier than the lie in most situations.
A lot of the time, yeah, and it's kind of it doesn't necessarily make you hate anybody or exactly. You just think, they were just people. It's like
when they were in that situation, and it was a crazy, time, and I don't think that person should be judged forever upon their interactions with life at that particular moment. Because if it was, then every person would be thrown in jail. Because there's not a single person that's alive that's led like such an absolute, lily white, perfect. In every way of life,
and the more you pretend that you have, the less believable it becomes in a way. That's why a lot of films and TV shows and stuff come across fake. So that's why I like the Ali movie a lot, the Will Smith one, because in that film he cheats on his wife and he treats her like shit, and they're all big arguments. Nobody's like gets away. The government looks like shit. He kind of looks like shit. But at the same time, it shows his greatness and it shows why he is respected and.
He has
even more so, maybe
because it shows how he breaks his balls. If that makes
sense. A good way to put it.
Yeah, like it shows how
it shows the shit that he went through to get there.
Absolutely, and even regardless of whether or not you prefer him, I thought he was a better boxer during. Like many people say, I thought he was a better boxer during when he was Cassius Clay, as to where he had his, the whole the Muslim.
We had a big break, didn't he? When he was thrown in prison for refusing the draft, and then it took him a while to get back on top.
The Rumble and I heard some rumor
that was his comeback. Yeah,
I heard some rumor that that fight. Oh, fantastic!
Who was it? Was it Joe Fraser in Manila?
Have been,
I can't remember. I know he had a big fight with George Foreman as well.
Yeah, Foreman, Fraser, and then
it's so funny. George Foreman, the grill guy. Oh yeah, he fought Muhammad Ali, by the way.
I'm so proud of it. I haven't put my name on it. I was like getting him confused with George Formby. Just a grilling as can be. Grilling all my cheese sandwiches. The things I shouldn't grill. Oh.
Was it him who did My Old Man's a Dustman?
Oh, yeah, probably. My old man's a dustman.
He wears a dustman's hat.
The blushing bride is quite divine. The bridegroom is a doing fine. I'd rather have his job than mine when I'm cleaning windows.
Fuck's sake. He was in Frank Skinner do he does a whole bit about it and he plays the ukulele.
Yeah. Yeah, he's excellent. He's probably one of my favorite. Like,
he's great. He reminds me of like Lee Mack and those sort of really quick northern comedians. Like
that stand-up he does where he's wearing the football shirt is like one of my favorite, probably all-time secret like stand-up things. The only reason why I call say secret, not because I'm like ashamed of it or anything, but it's just because it's guilty pleasure because it's something that I don't. I every time I watch it, I love it, but it's not. I don't know. I wish I used him as more of as a contemporary comedy great. Like, I almost feel like I'm kind of doing the world of comedy a disservice by not mentioning him.
In a way, I think of him as like somebody that my parents' generation would be more interested in, even though he's not really. He's sort of in
younger
between.
Than my parents' generation, than our parents' generation.
He's definitely my parents' pretty old. They're like almost 70. But he's been around for a long time, and he never quite broke into that mainstream market. I don't think he's a bit offensive. He's a bit
especially
eccentric.
Osama bin Laden.
Oh no!
That nasty man from the Taliban. Oh god! Coming from the press because he recorded on VHS or something like that. Oh god, it's brilliant.
Oh man,
so wonderful.
Back when you could just make a fucking song about anything.
I think the I don't know. I mean, nowadays because there's a lot of PC censorship and whatnot. But I love that. I do like that argument that in the 70s, it's the bit more of there was that big component of the 70s that was very much the shock comedy where you get people like the late rises of people. I want to say people like Kinnison. Because I haven't seen, I'm not a massive fan of Kinnison, only because it's probably I see it of its time.
I've seen it, but it's not. I wouldn't really go and watch it now because it's less relevant.
Yeah, I do agree.
But it's things like I was going to bring up Monty Python because they never stop being relevant. But it's so kind of a
wacky.
It's a funny thing that's said a lot in England, but they could not be made today. All the sketches, the movies aren't so offensive, but like all the Nazi sketches they did and everything in Fawlty Towers. I know that wasn't Monty Python. That was just a couple of them. But
John Cleese,
but like
good cast.
Yeah. It really is. It's not just a shock factor; it's just a truth factor, and they're really tackling things that everybody knows and cares about, but they're not going to shy away from talking about Nazis or whatever it is. David Mitchell and Webb did Nazi sketches, and everybody does.
The bad guys.
Oh, the bad guys. That's such a good sketch.
We've got skulls on our hats.
But have you seen the one where it's just John Cleese and he's straight up they do Hitler, but living in an English sort of town, so it's just him up on a balcony, and they've changed the flag and they changed his name, but it's just John Cleese doing a Hitler impression on a balcony in the middle of like some English small town.
No, I don't know if I have.
That's
seen
it.
That.
That's just the whole sketch. It's like,
wow. Okay. No, I've never seen that.
They do all kinds of things, and like you say, censorship and general intolerance of opinion and thin-skinnedness is kind of restricting and suffocating comedy in a lot of ways. I think it's still out there. Comedy will always win because it's in our hearts and souls, and you can't take that out of life and still have an enjoyable life. You need to be able to laugh.
There's no bastion of God. What's that? My father always quotes this. It's wonderful. There's no bastion of seriousness or that will stand up to ridicule.
No, absolutely not. There's I was listening to a very interesting talk actually. We were talking. I like to quote Alan Watts. He's one of my favorite speakers. He does a whole. I always bring him up
for the next hour.
I'm going to recite Alan Watts' most famous quotes from his hundreds of thousands of hours of lectures on YouTube. But no, he has a piece about the archetype of the Joker and the Joker character and what it means to see life as more of a game or a joke than a serious. Either materialistic or kind of
it's almost like a
competitional environment. It's not nihilistic because it's.
I know you. I mean, like,
it's
almost,
not that it's
like...
meaningless. It's just that in the end, it's funny rather than tragic, kind of.
Yeah.
And he talks about the fact that old-timey kings and courts and rulers, not just in the West but in all sorts of places, would have a court fool, and that was it wasn't. It wasn't exactly a respected profession, but it was also you didn't mess. Yeah, you didn't mess with the court fool. He was like. He was there to rip on the king, and essentially, and not just to rip on the king, but like when everybody in the room was serious, he'd just be there like, hey, the foreign king looks like this, doesn't he? It's really funny. Look how silly everybody looks.
And look how dumb Jeff's hat is.
Or he'll just be like, hey, look at me.
And as long as that one person cracks up, and that one person that cracks up is taken seriously.
It's a reminder that it's not all doom and gloom, and no matter what the crybabies and the serial complainers say, in the end, like you say, the death card, people die. It's
We're
a
all
part
gonna
of
die.
life. It's
Everybody's
sad.
gonna go
Boo-hoo.
at one point. Absolutely. You just got to
And-
make sure that you leave your mark, and it's got to be a respectable one that kind of like
Exactly.
that brings happiness with it. So that
Yeah.
it brings happiness and good teachings.
It's a fact that people are going to die, and then it's that you're free to do with that fact whatever you like. And like you say, like you want to do something positive with it.
Consolidate your good qualities. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. That's the purpose, if there is one, of
existence.
talking to people, of meeting people, of getting up in the morning. Trying to make it less, not even more enjoyable, just less horrific and less sad and less sort of stolted and boring and painful. And it's those people who want to take that away and say, no, you can't laugh at it. Life is really serious.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what the fuck did you come zooming in on your
Fucking
cloud?
tell me what I can laugh
tell
at.
me how to live my life. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, and
I
people,
didn't, like none of us like truly like the base argument. I mean, I always kind of look at it is that nobody really asked for existence at the beginning. You just have to accept it, and whether or not you do or you don't enjoy your existence, you have to come to terms with it. So, and my favorite way of doing it is to love and find things hilarious. Those are my two favorite things.
Yeah.
And like anything else, that deems itself to be adequate of being taken seriously, it kind of like it passes through that filter, and you even have to monitor your own filter.
Yeah.
That's how crazy things are nowadays. That
you self-censor.
You have to, self-censoring and in certain environments and behaving in certain ways and whatnot. And
especially when you're talking to new people, you're like, oh, is this one of the people? Are they gonna like get me in trouble for saying something that I find funny?
Yeah, you have to understand that it is not black and white. It's a billion shades of grey. Yeah, everything is 100 million. It's a Googleplex of grey, and within that spectrum of light and dark, there is every single other color, and that's just what you got to find is that lovely bit of like, oh, some red there and some gold, and look at this beautiful amber color, which is such a hard thing to make, but it actually ends up creating one of the most magnificent, unique things that humanity has ever contributed to the world, which is
whiskey,
fermenting things, absolutely. Sour mash or scotch, or distilling things down and distilling and finding out what weird components can be created from it. You're forcing the evolution of nature. You're forcing the periodic table to create things that you didn't at the beginning you didn't even know as an entity, you didn't even know existed. You just fancied, and that's the Jeff Joker weird quality, is the people that land themselves in these odd job throwing the hat odd job roles and that land themselves random task. That land
my henchman.
They land themselves in these random odd job roles that create this magnificent perfume that we cover ourselves with every single day. Which, as flowery as my words may become to describe things, that is another one of the things that makes my day better, is that I get to use this weird, to quote I love this word, lexicon of weird, awesome, fantastic words that I've heard throughout my travels and books and meeting awesome people like I love you yourself, and you have these great teachers like Dad, my brothers, and so many other great role models over the years. I have the pleasure, I have the honor of addressing people with a larger quantity of words to describe my experiences and to talk to them about theirs. And that's the honor for me. That's the cool thing. And I just got to remember occasionally to shut up and listen. Because that's so important. Is I need to shut my ass up sometimes.
Excellent speech. No, it's both though. It's both. We're like you say, it's the infinity, the multiplicity, the variation of the experience that you can just get by walking outside of your house and just speaking to people. And there's enough good in that. You find bad, you find sad, you find mad. It's there and it's in everything. And to try and get rid of it is absolutely a mistake, because you can't have one without the other. But when you have both, there's enough good and enough new and novel and interesting and enlightening. When you meet people, it shows you something about yourself and it shows them something about themselves, and everybody learns. And that's enough to forget about all the seriousness and the sadness and the wanting, not wanting to make a joke and my life's so hard, pity me. I've, maybe I was born into a bad situation, or I grew, I've through my own actions, or I've been dicked over by somebody else's actions, and it's all so terrible. No matter how terrible it is, you've got a choice. You're here, like you say, it's not, nobody chooses to be born, and you have the good and the bad together, and you have to accept both or neither. But even accepting neither isn't really a choice, because you have to take the whole thing or none of it.
Absolutely.
And if you decide to take none of it, then you suffer for a bit, and maybe later on you realize that you made the wrong choice. You change your mind. That there's always chances to decide to enjoy life. But if you can just
that's how regrets
focus on the good, exactly. And everybody has regrets, like you were saying about nobody being squeaky clean and perfect white, flawless lives. Everybody has regrets, but you get past them by filling your life up with more and more good people and experiences, and that's the only option, really.
That's what I can't.
There is no other way. You can bitch and argue and talk to yourself and talk yourself out of these things and convince yourself that it's all terrible for this or that reason. But the true moments in life that you get of feeling like you belong and feeling like you're doing the right thing and heading in the right direction, and somehow it's not all hopeless, it comes from just sort of deciding to be happy,
and taking action to further that happiness and to spread it, to give it to more people, to gift it as a little package, in your own unique package of happiness that you form in life. You're like, there we go, this is mine. You go, this is everything that I have, that I've worked for. And I want to give it to you because you deserve it, because you mean something, and because I know that you'll do something good with it. And I'm not bigging myself up, I'm just saying that
Will McLaughlin is salesman of joy.
But
you are though. You are. It's true. You go around spreading so much positivity. And like, that's not to say that, or even the most positive people is shown through what's this fucking really famous comedian that committed suicide? Jumanji. Actor.
Oh, Robin Williams.
I forgot his name. Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shown through people like that. The people who seem the happiest might be the most saddened and dark, dark on the inside. It's not easy, and it's not, when somebody says it, I always feel bad when I say it. I'm like, why don't you just be happy? That's how I think it sounds to other people when I say it. But it's like, that's how I sound to myself when I say it, because I'm like, why don't you just be happy? And I'm there like, no, it's all so terrible.
Today's really hard to get through. There's a lot of difficult
I woke up and I wasn't living my best life, and then the motivational speaker, he told me I should be.
He said something mean to me.
Yeah. The guys is mean. I looked on Instagram and they're all so happy and successful. But there are people in.
It's because it's snapshots of their life. It's because of the fact that you didn't address that person's thing correctly in the moment. You just let them flow over you with a negative bullshit sometimes, or the fact that sometimes people come with what you describe sometimes as negative criticisms, or sometimes they're like they're even like a little bit harder and a bit more punchy and really beautifully put together and well thought out criticisms or critiques of your experience on life. And that's never you should never allow that destroy that person's voice or that person's right to comment on the situation. But at the same time, you've just got to make sure that, as we were talking about earlier, you've got to have ammunition. You have to have a few quivers waiting in your you have to have a few arrows waiting in your quiver that have a suitable a polite and genuine remarks that you are willing to wait until the other person's finished speaking, and then you'll go like, okay, yeah, I see your point on that, and let me just go back to what you were saying, sort of thing. And obviously we don't always have the time to do that. Sometimes people drop bombs or drop grenades of information on you
positivity
that are negative. Some people just sometimes somebody will just walk in and have a shit on your dreams, and then they'll just go and they'll give that stink eye look of like, oh man, there we go. You deal with what I've just given you. You deal with the information.
And it's not.
And you're like, oh, you motherfucker. That's your immediate reaction.
That's what's so interesting about talking to people.
I'm not going to put up with this. No, I'm going to be thinking about this. And you're thinking about it for weeks. I haven't done that when somebody says something to you. And still a week later, it's like a stench from the back of your head. You're like, why do I care? And you're like, but part of you's telling you to care because it's maybe there's something in it. Maybe
Yeah,
there's
you're
a
like, it's
truth of
affected
what they were
me.
saying.
It can strengthen my outlook
maybe
if I
you are
contend with
overthinking
these
it.
ideas. Yeah, no, I do see that. But then that's what makes it so interesting to speak to people, is because it's not just a competition between like who can be the most eloquent or articulate or the loudest on, you know, positive versus negative, like miserable people versus people who are trying to be happy. It's like you say, somebody comes in and in that particular hour of that particular day, they've been having a shitty time, and you're like, okay, this is a new thing. This is a whole new, like we were talking about earlier about the sort of fragmentation of our minds and our memories. You bring something new to it every time because it's put through a new moment.
Yes.
And so you might be that person coming in and having a shitty day and being really miserable and negative, and I'm that guy all the time.
Yeah, dude,
I find myself laughing at myself hysterically sometimes just for how fucking depressing I am.
Dude, I know what you mean.
But then I do the exact opposite in situations like this where I'm like, oh, I should shut up about being positive. Some people have it really hard. Like, they're both true equally, but you need to find some middle ground and trend towards the positive. Otherwise, you know, where are you going?
But the great thing is, I'm not going to say great, but I mean, like, the funny thing is when you do have one of those bad days and you have a really bad day, like you have and I mean bad in like every sense of like, you know, like
not just superficially bad, like you have a proper shitty day.
And then everything's wrong at work, nothing works, and then you think, oh, this is going to happen, that goes wrong, and as you're saying it to yourself in your own head, it happens, and you're like, oh god, the bottle's smashed all over the floor and there's glass everywhere and there's also mustard fragments in the glass, and now I've got to fucking clean all this up, and I'm in the middle of doing something that I've got to do that's really important, and I've also got to do that, and then there's also somebody that needs my help as well. And it all just packs up and piles up and piles up and piles up and piles up, and then eventually you've got to, you know, you've got to look at it as is it a problem or an inconvenience? And if it's and of course you can't always do this at every moment. It's easy when you're not in the moment.
Oh yeah,
it's easy
like,
to go,
why didn't you just think rationally?
In hindsight, it's 2020, man. You know,
they should have built a fire escape on that side of the building, and then people would have been able to get out. Thanks, Captain Hindsight.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Hindsight.
You saved the day. Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, you're right though. But it's important to look back, especially on your own actions. You know, it's easy to look at other people and be like, why didn't you do the right thing?
Yeah.
But when you look back at yourself as well, you can say that and be like, fuck, why didn't I do the right thing? And it reminds you that you're not in full control. You know, you're not a little man in your head riding a mech suit, controlling it perfectly with full access to the database
Especially
of your memories.
You're
just
know people like that on the job. That's the worst.
Yeah,
thing,
you're just
when you feel
kind
like
of
you know people that just like, because I always swear that there's people I work with that like they go in and then that's like that is them. And I like my brain just naturally assumes that is what that person does day to day all the time, which is
they
like,
only exist as a work colleague in your mind.
Yeah, because that's the only time you ever see them. You don't assume that person goes off and they've got a life and they go and see their kids at sports day, and then they go and they have a weekend, and then they go down the pub and they have 5 beers, and then they have that one extra beer at the end, and they have to call a cab home, and then they're like, or they stay out for a bit longer with Phil, you know, like, all right, Phil, let's do it, you know, sort of Phil's like,
yeah, and Phil's got a whole life of his own as well.
Phil has a life, you know, and Phil's to any judging standardized you know, like crazy people out there, Phil's life may look a little bit loose cannon or cannoneer, so you know, But Phil feels like he's got it under control, and he acts like he's got it under control.
Yeah, you can rely on Phil,
and Phil will always be Phil. That's the reason. Like, and I love that you can always. It's the reason why I do love a bit crazy people, like tandem random, because you can always people that. There's certain people that are hard to predict, and they're people that don't really show their cards, and they're the ones that I don't always trust them all the time. And they're normally the people that have like a lot of secret projects that do things, you know. And but they're quite. You can never ping that person as a certain thing. You can't. They're uncategorizable pigeonholers, but they don't. They you can't even. You've never even seen their heart. It's not as if they wear it on their sleeve. Like at all, they've got it hidden in a thing, in a box, in a trunk, and a thing, and you'll live your entire life and maybe not even know that person. But then you've got to think as well, maybe that person doesn't always know them, and maybe they'll live that life just doing what they're doing.
You mean like they don't really know themselves either?
But maybe that's a joy. Maybe that's something that I will never be aware of. That maybe I'm missing out of.
They probably never experience a level of like self-doubt and self-awareness and sort of self-criticism that other people would.
Fucking solid in their day-to-day tasks that you're like you got to respect them. You just got to go like, wow, you like something mad happened, or like they're being approached by like 15 different people at the same exactly the same time. Every single one of those people requires something different from them, a specific specified utilization of that individual's talents that's devoted to fixing a certain problem.
They are the cog in the machine, exactly where they need to be.
Exactly, and they fit a lot of different people's problems that can only be solved by that person.
There's a certain rigidness that goes along with being that kind of person.
They'll just smash it, and you're like, wow, that person just solved like 15 problems in the space of about a minute. And they didn't even bat an eyelid, and then they turn to you and go like, "Oh, what was it you need?" And there's a little wry, honest smile on the side of their face. But you know for a fact that you could never ask that there's a chance that that their answer to what do you think of the human experience and the condition of being us and being inside your head and blah, and vomiting all of knowledge and
what's your take on reality?
Exactly, what's your take on it, and all of that nonsense that you don't know whether or not it's going to provide you with a useful, clairvoyant answer to solving any of the problems that you have that are realistically in that moment. They may not answer.
In the end, I think that everyone's approaching those questions, but some people just don't talk about it. Some people solve it by doing, and some people solve it by talking. And like, I think me and you love talking about it.
Do it by solving.
Yeah, exactly. Me and you love talking about these things. Some people just don't. Like, I know a lot of quiet people who are by no means not. It's not like they're
not intelligent,
uninquisitive. They want to know about their place in the world and the nature of reality and all these things, and they just don't necessarily talk about it. And I think maybe me and you are just people who talk about it a bit too much. And
that's why we're good for a podcast. Is that we can sit and waffle on for.
But then that's also what I love about. That's probably why I'll try and be a writer, because the people in my life who I've experienced, thankfully being part of the internet generation, thank you. I've had the opportunity to experience all the great thinkers and writers and speakers from the last few hundred years. And they inspire me by their inquisitions, their inquiries into the unknown and this thing that we're talking about, the joys of life and the trials and tribulations and the suffering of existence and the ways that you escape it and all the point of being alive and the ways to talk to each other and what if there is an ultimate goal, what is it? What's the point of talking to each other? Why get up in the morning? It's great speakers and thinkers and talkers about these things that inspire me to do the same or try to do the same. And hopefully somebody will watch this conversation and be like,
just take someone away from
about it. At least they're talking about something that I can relate to. And it shows you that you're not alone in the world. Yeah.
Maybe there's people with similar problems to us. Maybe there's people that have that all they needed in that moment was just somebody having a good day, like we are. Just somebody sitting there and just like, not everybody is suffering, not everybody is having a bad time. Look at these guys; they're just shooting the breeze.
It's easy
when fine stuff and not and they don't care.
It's easy when you're suffering to think that the world is suffering and it's all terrible, and you might even end up resenting people who seem happy. Yeah, and you need sometimes to remind yourself through seeing other people that are like you that it's not all so bad, and maybe you're just in a bad place at the moment, and it can very quickly be turned around.
Yeah, it's gonna pass. And all you needed was that when you're walking through some field in the middle of nowhere and you're feeling as down,
skipping like Theresa May,
and as weird or you're walking through a crowded train station like Victoria Station, and it's just crowded and everyone's moving, everyone's got their own agendas, everyone's living their own lives, and there's so many people, but you feel all alone, and you're just sitting there and you're just teeming through your own thoughts. And sometimes it's the best thing in the world is when you tune into a podcast, you tune into something that just takes you out of that situation. It takes your brain out. It takes your train of thought out of that moment, and it puts it on a track that is fun. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't ask you to do anything. It doesn't say you need to be this, you need to do this, you need to try more in your life of doing, or you know,
it silences the voices in your head that are telling you that normally yourself, because it's not even just, it doesn't tell you that, it stops you from telling yourself that, because I find often you're looking around at other people and you're like, I'm not as successful as those people, and they're prettier than me, and that guy looks they're different, and I don't.
Have you ever seen, you've seen Bowling for Columbine, haven't you?
Ages ago, yeah.
There's a beautiful thing that Marilyn Manson says in that, and he's the only person in the entire documentary who says it. He says that, you know, and the guy said, "What?" The guy's asking the question, says to him, what would you do in that situation? What would you ask those kids, or the parents of those kids? And he says, and he like almost semi-interrupts the guy. He says, I wouldn't ask them anything. I would just listen, because I don't think that's what anybody did. And I just think that's so important, is that sometimes you just need to either listen, or sometimes you just need to not be in that moment, or sometimes you just need to you need somebody saying to you, don't worry, you're all right, what you're doing is okay, keep doing what you're doing, you're fine, it's a slug, it's difficult, okay? All the people that you love, that you respect, that you find are impeccably fantastic at fulfilling the tasks that you love them for doing and performing, we'll share a lot of the same toils and mindsets towards doing and performing those tasks that we do, because it's not difficult. You're not doing the same task as Joe's, doing the same task as Sandra's, doing the same task as Becky's, doing the same task as anybody. It's all difficult. Yeah. But it's all worth it. When you finish that, you're finished. You're done. You've clocked in, you've clocked out. You have done your bit for the day. Well done. But it's as long as you do that bit for the day. We're not saying that you know, and sometimes, you know what, once every 2 weeks, fuck it, take one day off. Once every few weeks, just for you, once every 2 weeks. I'm sure there's not a single person that doesn't have the ability to go, or just to say to, you know, all their extra hours, just clock out of that. Just clock out one day in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the worst. Come on. Like, what? If you're working a month every single day, 12 hours a day, 9 hours a day, whatever. You just, you take, look, you're going to have at least in the entire time, look at it in terms of numbers. Look at add up how much time you've got down yourself. And you've probably by chance, hopefully got about at least 24 hours in that entire month period of that hard fucking slog of, you've got one day when you just didn't do anything. And that's funny. That's hilarious. That's the brilliant side, is that you genuinely didn't do anything. You didn't contribute to anything. You didn't help anything out. You sat and ate ice cream. You sat and you thought about why boobs are different sizes. You sat and you thought about, why are there loads of types of creation of alcohol through fermentation? You sat and you just thought that question, and then you went through it. Why doesn't there's Owen Benjamin I was talking about earlier, there's a great one where he says, like, well, there's a question that floats through blokes' heads is why do is the age-old question, why doesn't the glue stick to the inside of the bottle? Like, things like that. And you just ask these like never-ending weird like things that you just think about, like, what do you call it? Like, Dylan Moran's brilliant genius level for thinking of stupid, phenomenal questions.
Yeah, like, tiny details of life that you just
like questions that children would ask you, like, what do you call the place underneath the kettle?
What do you call the space in between the forks on a comb?
In the comb, yeah.
In between the struts on a comb.
Because there's a side of you as a parent, as an adult, as an educated person, as a grown up, as somebody that takes themselves just a tiny little bit seriously. There's a part of you that just goes, like, there's probably a name for that, and I don't know what the fuck it is. I have no idea.
There must
be. I can't answer that. And you're like, oh, I've got to go and find that out now.
Like, and then you forget it soon after, but you're glad you learned it. Yeah, exactly. There's a word for everything.
But yeah, go back to what I was saying. It's just take a moment. You're doing fine. Keep going.
Yeah, man.
Keep going. Keep loving yourself. Just fuck it. Look, just once in a while, take one day in the week. Wake up, and you know what? Like, you felt like it. So just once a week. I'm not saying the day after. I'm just saying, like, fuck yourself up a bit. Like, have a little dose of you in the morning. Have a sit down wee on a Sunday. Change your bed sheets. Just do something a bit crazy. Just
Yeah,
go.
just something
have
out
a-
of the routine.
say, announce to everybody in the room, right, as a family, we're going to the park. We're going to go and pick up some lemonade. I know I don't get paid until tomorrow. I know that we've got rent to pay, but you know what? We're going to get ourselves some 90 pence strawberry lemonades from the weird, gnarly little shop that's in the park. And we're going to do that. And he serves them on ice on Saturdays. So that's what's happening next, sort of thing. And you're like, yeah, brilliant, And you have a walk down. It's raining. Fuck it. You all had to prepare. You wore wellies and stuff. It's another part that breaks up just something else that you've got to do sometimes, which is, and it changes your perspective. And people ask you, what did you do yesterday? Oh, I went with the whole family to the park. I went with my friend to the park. I went to oh God. And it's the little things. Little things, the same as the little things all add up, and they get on top of you, and you go, "Oh, I don't know what to do. It's all a bit difficult." The same way that happens, you just got to go add up the little good things. Have a few hundred little good things. Buy yourself a bowl of fruit, and you know what? Just eat the whole bowl of fruit.
Focusing on the positives of any aspect of life is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to try and do, because I just naturally, if something you know how you remember that time in year 3 in primary school or something where someone said something, insulted you in front of the whole of the class, and you're like, huh, yeah, well, you suck, and nobody laughed, but they all were like, yeah, they got him, and then they reminded you of it for the next couple of weeks, and that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
that's my brain in a nutshell. It is all the negative all the time, and I've had to train myself on every occasion in my life to just try and focus on all the positive things that have happened to me and that I've done and that I've met great people. But it's so incredibly difficult. I'm not wired for it, because we have this danger sensing mechanism in our brain that goes, oh, remember that time when you got really embarrassed? That's like the equivalent of you being attacked by a tiger in the jungle, and evolutionarily speaking. And so now your brain's on full alert panic mode, and it will never allow that to ever happen again. And you need to order your life around preventing these dangers, and never embarrass yourself, never take any risks. Don't try and impress anybody, because then they might not impress them.
Oh God! And, what if you fail?
What if you fail? You can't try. It's better if you just never try.
Just don't bother. If you don't do anything, then nothing will go wrong.
Keep your head down.
Buddhist mentality. Don't do anything and don't upset anybody, and nothing bad will happen.
Only people who speak get shot. Just don't speak. Yeah, exactly. Just be silent, be a calm pond, never do anything. And that's the worst advice you could ever give yourself. And I'm constantly trying to get away from it and take risks and do more and be riskier. I'm losing my words now. Just believe in the possibility of something good happening to you, and it pays off in most situations. Obviously, some people are in sort of inescapably tragic situations, and they need it a lot more than the motivation that we're given to get out of them. But for people who are just kind of living an okay life and just not feeling great about it, just
rise up,
believe in the positive, just forget about all the complaining and the negative and the
because it's easy, because that's what you've lived.
It's
you
too
realize
easy.
That's what you've been doing for so long, and as much as it may exist, you are also on a little blue dot in a very, very big galaxy.
You are,
to
on
quote
a rock
Mr. Carl Sagan,
floating through space.
Exactly, and that's the reality. As much as I think Ricky Gervais was maybe probably quoting somebody else, and if he wasn't, then I do like Ricky Gervais. I'm not a massive fan.
I like him sometimes.
He is hit and miss. There's a lot of the stuff he does, but I love his balls. Yeah, respect his balls. I respect that man's balls.
Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah,
especially when he does the Golden Globes. I love that.
That's when he got in real big trouble.
Mel Gibson.
I can't remember who he insulted now.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I like a drink. Maybe not as much as the next man, but the next man being Mel.
Why do people care if he offends Mel Gibson? Isn't Mel Gibson famous for anti-Semitism?
Oh God, yeah, I can't believe we're talking about this on the podcast. Yeah, he's gotten in a wee bit of trouble. I love Apocalypto. I love that film. Oh, it's so good. And
the Bruce Willis film?
Apocalypto.
Oh no, it's Armageddon. Oh. Ignore me.
No, Apocalypto is the
Apocalypto.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's excellent. But yeah,
Future Braveheart.
Future Braveheart. Oh, I hate Braveheart. No, because it'd be past Braveheart almost. Yeah, it's past. It's the prequel. No, it is, technically the Braveheart.
The prequel to Braveheart.
Is it? No, it is future. No, I've just realised what we were talking about because I'm also thinking about Last of the
Is
Mohicans.
it future? I don't even know.
Because it's the prequel to Last of the Mohicans and the future of Braveheart. Oh, that's such a great film.
Apocalypto was a pretty good film.
Yeah, you've seen Last of the Mohicans, haven't you?
Maybe when I was a kid,
Dude,
not for a long time.
Greatest on-screen villains of all time, Magua, so good.
Can't bring it to
Like,
mind.
Ron's a living a chambre. He's like going to talk about he's like, oh, I'm going to rearrange my bedroom. No, I'm just joking. He doesn't say that, but his French,
what you're talking about.
his French sounds like that in one of the scenes. Yeah, anyway. I digress.
Hold on.
Humongously digress. Oh, we have destroyed the cheese and meat platter, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing.
There's
like
almost nothing. You do. That's yours because I've had quite a lot.
Let's have a lift.
It's
There
all
is
gone.
nothing. We're gonna have.
There's a bit of chicken left.
I will have probably maybe 2 more of those.
And plenty of drink.
Drank.
If only we got some purple drink.
Do you want me to go and grab some? I need to go to the little boys' room anyway, so I'll go and grab some more ice cubes.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Cool. Yeah.
let's do
I
it.
said we could return back to Monty Python if you'd prefer.
Oh, sure.
Holy but Jesus, that is a triple in there, but I respect that amount.
I almost didn't think about it while I was doing it.
That's pure. That's the liquor talking, my friend.
Well, don't leave me to my own devices.
Filthy bitch. Christ alive. I can't wait to go to the cinema later with
I bought
Jack.
this to be drank.
Hilarious. Oh my god.
You're going to be seeing the Joker like heckling.
Oh my god. I'm going to be inside of Joaquin Phoenix's head. I'm going to go back to past performances of him when he's in Gladiator, which apparently is what the guy from Game of Thrones, the young kid Joffrey, based his performance off
that's a
of
good
Joaquin Phoenix.
That makes a lot of sense because he's Emperor Caesar. What's it?
You're
Not
right.
Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius' younger cohort was not Caesar
Augustus?
Augustus. No,
it's not Augustus. It's
I'll tell you where. Let me
look it up while you're doing that.
No, I'm leaving my phone, and I'm not cheating.
You can try and remember. Yeah, do try and remember.
On my own turn.
Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator. Fuck. Emperor Palpatine. I don't know. What to talk about? Will wanted to talk about Monty Python. You remembered it? Commodus. That was it. Emperor Commodus. Oh, Joaquin. He was great in that. I'm not surprised that Joffrey was inspired by. There's also. Did you ever see The Master, Will?
The Master.
You know,
No, I've never seen that.
oh, fantastic! Yeah.
It immediately reminded me of the existence of a film called Old Boy.
Oh, Old Boy! Tell me you've seen the Japanese version, not the remake. Thank fuck. He's away. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, The Master is a fantastic film featuring Joaquin Phoenix and what's his name? Philip Seymour Hoffman, who died. Both fantastic performances. It's basically a film about Scientology, but not really. I'm still talking about The Master. It's like a sort of film about Scientology, but under another name. And it stars Joaquin and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, I do love Philip Seymour Hoffman. Man.
Oh, he was great.
Rad.
Did you ever see Charlie Wilson's War?
Yes,
That's one of my favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman films.
On the Boat That Rocked as well.
Yeah, that's
but
that's
dude,
a great film.
Charlie Wilson's War's amazing.
That's so deep,
One
just
of my
emotional roller coaster. That film.
Dude, one of my favorite quotes of all movie histories from that film.
Is it
where he's
the Zen Master and the little boy?
No,
Oh,
it's
I love that
please explain that one afterwards. But I like that one from Tom Hanks where he's like when he's hiring the secretaries and the guy comes in, he's like, why are all the secretaries as they are? And he says and one of the secretaries turns to him and goes, well, Mr. Wilson always says that you can teach him to tap, but you can't teach him to grow tits. I absolutely like. There's something weird and deep in that's kind of like part of the human.
It's like old timey and like rustic and just.
And you could just imagine
about
some woman just like absolutely just destroying with that line of just like. Oh, dude, there's so many women.
Yeah, what can you possibly say to
at work that just destroy with like knowledge bombs and they're just like hilarity, like. Dude, whoever the fuck's that, like, I'm sorry, but like, I love Christopher Hitchens, but he's seriously wrong when he said that women can't be funny.
He did well, yeah. He did. He didn't say that women can't be funny. He said that when they do their emulating male behavior. Which
Oh right, yeah.
he said that they rip off traditionally masculine comedians, or like stereotypes like the Jewish comedian or the sort of extremely butch man comedian talking about his wife, and so you get comedians like Roseanne Barr, or what's that one, Joe Brand, the English woman. She's always talking about how stupid her husband is.
Yeah,
I think that's what he was talking about. Just probably comedy's more sophisticated now, probably.
I do agree.
He wrote that back
but
in like the early 2000s.
Joe Brand does have one unfortunate, quite good bit though. She talks about where
She's got better
her,
these days. I didn't used to like her.
where her husband, she's like, I asked him to vacuum the house once, and I came back, and all of the furniture in the house was out in the garden as he was vacuuming the house.
Yeah,
and I just thought that was like really brilliantly observed, because like that is like you know, women go around things wonderfully, and they do like sort of around and the inside, and lift stuff up and like things, whereas a bloke just will clean the entire house out. You know, like if this is like, right, I need the house clean,
deconstruct the whole
just
thing.
take the entire house apart. I've vacuumed every bit of it, or it just nothing will happen at all. Like it's either what is 0 or 100. You know, in a lot of cases. I'm speaking very generally here, but
yeah, no, it's just a bit of an observation.
Anyway, yeah, so going back to Charlie Wilson's War, the Zen Master and the little boy.
Oh, fuck! I'm gonna try and remember the whole story. So in Charlie Wilson's War, there's was the CIA, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character. He's a deep cover American sort of government agent, and he's involved in the financing of Charlie Wilson, who's the politician played by Tom Hanks, he arranges the financing of the Afghanistan war because he wants to fight communism, essentially, if I'm remembering it right. And he mainly he's looking out for the rights and the well-being of the Afghani people, I think it is. And then you got Philip Seymour Hoffman, who's the government agent, who's much more realistic and grounded, and he's involved in spending the money that Charlie Wilson raises. And towards the end of the movie, they're at a party celebrating a great boon, victory, sort of significant progress in the war, because they raised all this money and they bought weapons and vehicles and things for the the
rebel,
what do you call them, freedom fighters,
yeah.
Who I think later on maybe have become our terrorists or whatever, but at the time they were America's allies. And Charlie Wilson is saying to Philip Seymour Hoffman, why can't you just be happy? We've got this, we've done this, we've helped these people, we've raised all this money and won this small part of the war for the effort. Why can't you just be happy about it? And Philip Seymour Hoffman, in retaliation, tells him the story of the Zen master and the little boy, which is there's a little village somewhere in Asia or the Middle East, and there's a boy in the village, and for his birthday he gets bought a horse for all of his hard work around the place, and everybody likes him, and so they bought him a horse for his birthday, and everybody celebrates, and they say, oh, how brilliant, the little kid got a horse. And the Zen master in the village says, well, we'll see. And then later on that year, the boy's riding the horse and he falls off and he breaks his leg. And everybody says, oh, how terrible, the boy broke his leg. That's really awful. We shouldn't have bought him the horse. And the Zen master says, we'll see. And later on that year, a war starts between their country and another. And they say, and the boy isn't able to be conscripted into the army because his leg is broken, he's crippled, and everybody says, how fantastic, he doesn't have to fight in the war. Isn't it lucky that we got him that horse? And the Zen master says, we'll see. And I think that's the end of the story. I can't remember, there might be another step, but essentially the moral is, don't ever celebrate or mourn things too much, because you can't see the biggest picture of how it's going to affect the outcome, and maybe what you think is good for a person now is bad for them in the long run. And we're all temporal beings who can only see so far into the consequences of our actions and our lives, and it's always applicable, I think, because you can always zoom out in your thinking and you reduce your level of sort of magnification, and there's a lot of ways that people talk about it. There's always a bigger picture, and chaos in a small sense, like I've heard the example used of, if you zoom into a human body at the level of bacteria, it looks like an almighty world war going on between all the bacteria fighting each other for dominance, and everything's dying and being reproduced, and it's all chaos.
Like forests. All wildlife, plant life is all
everything's constantly at war. But if you zoom out a little bit, they're all killing each other, all the animals, all the bacteria. But you zoom out a little bit, and it looks like order. But then you zoom out from that, and it looks like chaos again. And then you zoom out from that, and it looks like order again. And on the societal level, maybe on your street, it seems like people are getting along. But when you look at the level of the country, it looks like everybody's at odds. But when you look at the world, we're actually more united than we've ever been in the past. And then maybe if you look at the world over a longer span of time, overall we're increasing in sort of understanding and unity, or maybe we're not. But if you zoom out even further than that, then life itself has come from a place of sort of almost non-existence through really tumultuous millennia all the way to where we are now, which is much more stable and peaceful and civilized than it's ever been before. And it's just basically to say you don't know
Nobody knows
the ultimate meaning of what's happening in front of you.
Yeah.
And
so it is unwise to assume.
exactly.
Yeah. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Oh, it took me right back to year 6.
Yeah,
I remember that shit.
Cheers. That was glorious though.
Yeah, I feel we've gone full circle there.
Absolutely, yeah. Right back to Greek heroes again.
Yeah.
So the Greeks,
the ultimate truth.
Yeah. It's I love little stories as well that sum up great and vast and quite difficult to sum up stories. I mean,
parables
I love things like,
are very
parables and
valuable.
languages. Yeah, exactly. And the reason why things like a combination, the two most quotable books for me in like the history of humanity. I mean, and I'm talking page to page. I mean, there's chapter to chapter and plenty of books, but I mean, page to page.
Yeah,
like you've got to wade through the quotes.
There's obviously Jeeves and Worcester go to the races.
There's the Bible. And I'm talking like there's the Bible. There's the Bible. Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Yeah, there's the Bible, and then there's the complete works of Shakespeare, which I'm cheating on by saying the complete works. But
I own it.
Sorry,
I haven't read it.
As exactly the same. Oh my god! I bought a copy from Borough Market for £5, and I've been looking forward to it. At the moment, I finish Keith Richards, and I'm 2/3 of the way through that. The moment I finish that, I'm going straight on to reading because I can't. I've been dying. I saw an incredible video with Ross. We sat down and watched the whole thing. And it only unfortunately, but luckily in terms of preservation, but unluckily, perceptional looking, as we were talking about earlier, in terms of like looking at a situation. No, I'm saying in general looking at your situation. It's unluckily it's very short. You prefer it to be longer, but luckily they have so much of it. There's a great discussion between Alistair something, not Alistair Sim, not Alistair Crowley. He's a very famous old West End stage actor.
McGowan, I don't know, Darling. There's a lot of Alistairs that I can't fucking remember.
But anyway, he is one of he'd done something like between 50 to 100 different versions of Hamlet.
Good Lord.
And he's in a conversation with Orson Welles and oh god, how dare you, Will, on forgetting this man's name, Peter O'Toole, depictor of Mr. Lawrence of Arabia, who's my mind was blown recently by a great fact from that film, which was that there are, apart from the singing women on the cliffs when they're about to go to battle, there is no women in that film at all.
Yeah.
Yes, I assume there is none.
No extras or anything.
Internet, please, as a
fact check
anybody, I challenge you to try and find, apart from the women going on the cliffs, which is super badass, like in its own incredible, like ceremonial way. Apart from them, try and find a depicted lady with even better with dialogue in Lawrence of Arabia in the unabridged 4-hour awesomeness that is that film.
4 hours
with 2 parts, yeah. So the intermission is a dum bum bum dum bum bum.
Intermission music is always the most obnoxious thing.
I love it. You be quiet. You take that back.
No,
you take that back.
I hate intermission music.
No, Lawrence of Arabia.
I saw King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard live in
You've
London.
been watching the wrong things. You need to watch that.
It was so painful. It made me leave the room.
That's because it's a contemporary form of art that is using classical or old school cinema in order to justify its contemporary.
I bet Lawrence
nature.
never even went to Arabia.
You leave bullshit alone. Thomas Edward was an institution. But it's brilliant. Like the anyway, what's this one?
Where were you?
Where I was somewhere. We were in the desert. And that was it. So there's we were talking about Shakespeare's complete works and the
very
fact
quotable,
that these anyway, there's page to page, sentence to sentence, it is quotable. Arguably Jane Austen as well is probably another one. I mean, Pride and
I read a
Prejudice.
bit. I do like Pride and Prejudice, but at the same time, I can't be asked most of the time. It's not.
Kind
it's
of
quotable,
wish
but
I could be like a woman for whatever passage I'm reading.
I
Of
find it
and then
quite
I want to go
limited
back
to
to
the
being a bloke
time.
afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are better universal, but like books of universal sort of female experience. Obviously, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It is a
But-
truth universally acknowledged that a man in possession of a good fortune.
Oh,
many
that's
people
from,
just say fortune, Pride and
yeah.
Prejudice.
That is Pride and Prejudice,
Yeah,
isn't it?
first line. Of a man in possession of a good fortune should be
looking
want
for
of
a
a wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all right. I find it quite time specific to the times.
Yeah,
Like less.
it's
so
really
than-
good, but
It is good. It's good. I prefer what's the one where they are all living in a house and they all really hate each other? Similar. It wasn't Jane Austen. It was
you're not talking about. It's not Emma.
No, it's
The something sisters. They're really famous, isn't it? All the sisters. No. That's a really. That's
there's the
different,
Austen.
actually.
There's Jane Austen. No, well, Jane Austen's the character. Wait, no.
Emma.
No.
Jane
Jane
Eyre?
Austen's not the character. Jane Eyre is the character.
Yeah,
There's
it's
Austen-
Jane
there's,
Eyre. It's Jane
the
Eyre.
Bronte. There's the Charlotte.
Oh,
Bronte,
the Bronte sisters. Yeah.
And there's,
my-
what did
my
Charlotte Bronte
grandmother
write?
must
It
have
was.
been
It
too.
wasn't Pride and Prejudice. It was.
Charlotte Bronte wrote. Oh no!
It's the name of the place. Is the name of the book, and it's about. There's a guy who his wife hates him, and they all hate each other, and it's like a really edgy, angsty book from the 1800s. I read it.
Bleak. No,
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering
That
Heights.
Book
Wow,
is
well
much
done,
better
man.
than Jane Austen, in my opinion.
Well done.
I feel like it has a lot more raw
This is a
emotion and
man's
believability.
podcast. We've got dude just applauding another guy for getting like a book. Wow.
Oh, dude, I love that shit. No shade on Jane Austen. It's good. Jane Eyre is good.
Dude, she is a genius.
Mm.
However you look at it, like Jane Austen in terms of writing is a I love that quote from Blackadder. Oh yeah, like all the best
Calls her
female
like an upstart or something.
yeah,
doesn't
all
it?
the best female writers. They're all men.
Oh, yeah.
What, all of them, sir? Yeah, all of them. Jane Austen, huge Yorkshireman with a beard like a rhododendron. Oh, Jane. Blah, blah, blah. I'm speaking here without a mic.
Oh
I hope that's still hearable.
no! Oh, audible.
Claro, sí.
David, text me. Let me know if we're
David, are we on? David.
Okay, are you all right, David?
David.
How you doing,
David
David?
should be young Jamie.
Yeah.
David be the best young Jamie ever.
Do you need a job?
Dave, if you be young Jamie on the podcast, that'll be that's the best thing ever. I love the lighting in this at the moment. There's a lot of light.
It is.
This is.
Very
I feel like this is
neutral
working
lighting.
out.
I feel like that. I need to get rid of my.
Is it time? Yeah, it's time. Yeah, dude, that's better. That's better. Without the blue, it is better.
That is better. I should have done that all along.
The whole thing works.
Mm.
I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, by the way. I mean, we're probably gonna. I mean, maybe in the next sort of half to 40 minutes, we're probably gonna start
Yeah,
like,
probably
rounding
start
up.
winding it down soon.
Winding it down. I mean, we're doing very well. I mean, we're not going to take any of the. I would want to say.
I'm not going to rush anything.
What was it called? When one achieves inertia and momentum moving forwards. Well, we don't want to lose any of our momentum, and we will not be losing any of our momentum soon. That anytime soon. So we'll say cheers and another little bit of love.
I almost want to smoke, but
Oh no, come on. You can wait. You can wait.
yeah,
till later.
that's true.
You'll be fine.
I
Even
shouldn't
though I'm
tarnish the
sure-
good
I
name
don't-
of Biscotti Conversations.
I don't mind, but I mean, right now, I think four episodes in,
That is true. You want to?
I don't mind jumping the gun, and I don't mind ripping the Band-Aid off. I don't. I'm
It's
not.
not
I'm not
an
a big fan of,
inevitability. You don't have to do it.
exactly, and I'm not a fan of like I don't like treating my audience members like by children by saying, oh, well, we won't have any.
I've never partaken.
Such things involved completely irregular and very, you know, I'm not a fan of censorship, but I mean,
There's censorship, and then there's just common sort of politeness and etiquette, isn't there?
There's a part of me that is a little bit English.
I feel it.
I like holding things back. It's the same reason. It's exactly the same reason why. For that would be the reason why I wouldn't want. I'm happy with the 2 microphones. I'm
Mm.
happy with like it's one-on-one conversation at the moment. I'm happy that it's not we haven't gone too overboard with stimulus. That we're keeping it simple.
Yeah,
we
we could have been.
I mean, we went pretty crazy today because we had a tray of meat with cheese
I feel like
and crackers,
that's a logical
we've
step.
had an entire decanter that we've got a
That
solid
was like
2/3 of the way through. That was a
70
whole
CLs of whiskey.
That's
right
a
there.
whole bottle all the way through. You know, I'm
And
reasonably
bananas.
lit right
we had
now.
bananas.
And we've had bananas. We've had a pot of coffee. We've had 2 pots of
2
coffee.
pots of coffee, a lot of water,
and a lot of water, and
multiple limes,
and 2 beers apiece. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And many limes. Yeah. That's the sack of what's left. Like leave that on a mic somewhere. Or something. Playing the bugle, whatever.
Mm.
But you know, we're just for any of you that are tuning in right now to Biscotti, I don't know why you would be tuning in right now, but
in
if
later
later
times though on
yeah,
the YouTube
like,
upload, there might be.
I'd like to first off thank you so much for coming straight into our wonderful embrace and meeting us on this clairvoyant journey into the unknown, where we will be taking
I respect you.
I
love you. I appreciate you.
We will be taking you through a journey through time and space. The mighty boo.
I was wondering what the fuck that was from.
Somewhere I do see.
Oh, do you know, I watched the Great British Bake Off for the first time the other day, and it is so weird seeing Noel Fielding and fucking Sandy Toksvig next to each other, just talking about doing little bakery jokes, talking about cakes and stuff. Meanwhile, in my own recollection of Noel Fielding, he's there, he's the hitcher, he's like, that's it.
Oh boy, you
going,
watching my fam, are you?
Eels. I'm going as fucking.
Check it up now. Eels up inside you, finding an entrance where they can. Boy through your mind, through your tummy, through your anus. Eels, dip, bip, boop, boop. Eels. Check it up now.
I'm going as old Greg this Halloween.
I'm old Greg. I got a mangina.
Bailey's from a shoe.
Shout out just from, I mean, you haven't met him, but I mean, you may have met him at maybe one of the old house parties from like back in the day. But I mean, Willem Goddard John, big shout out, baby. I mean, you're a big old Greg fan. If you end up watching this, I'm getting you on the podcast. We're getting hip on the podcast as well. But yeah, Greg will be a recurring segment.
Maybe I'll be young Jamie. Who knows?
Maybe. You never know. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe you will be.
Oh, he hung you. I've only just noticed that you've got that. That's magnificent.
It's beautiful.
Touch delicacy. Have you I love that quote from Gandhi, and I don't know why I'm thinking about it. You need to grow your beard.
Enlighten me. No, I keep growing. I grow it for costumes, and then I shave it off. I'm growing it because I'm being Gary King from The World's End on the weekend. After that, I'm shaving it right off. I can't stand having a beard. I like to be able to feel my face.
I can't wait to get rid of this, mate.
Genuinely, I grew a beard for 5 months, and I hated it, but I did it.
I'm getting rid of this like end of November.
It's not going to be the same, is it?
Well, if it's December, like the 4th or 5th, or like the
I feel like
first or second week of December, will be like the latest.
I know I just said I don't enjoy having a beard, but I feel like it's a kind of a public duty for you to have a beard because
me,
yeah. Because look at it, I can't. I don't remember what you were like without a beard, man.
That's
Come on.
The problem is that everybody goes like. Look, I mention to people like, and I say it like really like forcefully, like I'm shaving the beard off, and people go like, I get people go.
I've been getting a lot of backlash.
People go from like elated to.
Yeah. It's like hearing you say
you think you are
an arm
saying
off.
you can shave your beard off. Like it's like the public own my beard.
Who you are, mate?
Not public. I mean, I'm not that popular. I mean, like people I know, like will fight to have the beard still.
It's an essential part of your public persona.
5 a day.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of that. Anyway, I was reminded of one of my favorite quotes of all time is that one from Gandhi between him and King George the Fifth. Yeah, 5th.
That's me.
It may have been
1 through 100. One of them.
He's 5th. I'm pretty sure it's 5th. Bertie. I'm pretty sure it was Bertie.
You're far more don't look at me. You're far more knowledgeable.
Anyway, here's one though when he was going to dinner with the king, and it was they were out literally outside the entrance hall. God, I'm using that word again. They were literally outside the entrance hall. Yeah.
They weren't inside.
They were literally outside. It was as if they could have been written. But yeah, they were outside the entrance hall, and a member of the press asked Mr. Gandy. This is after, so they went in, they had dinner, they had discussions. They then thanked each other and left.
It's this when he was like, "Was Bertie the best drummer in the world?" And Gandhi was like, "He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles."
You're talking about Ringo.
Carry on.
You don't know what? I'm lost.
So I was just fucking with you.
You succeeded. I'm very lost now.
Carry on with
Anyway,
Gandhi's story.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So Gandhi. All right. So Gandhi comes. I'm going to finish the story because I've been taking way too long. He's not even that long.
Gandhi walks into a bar.
Gandhi walks into a bar with George V, and they order a pint of Jaeger bombs each.
Tray of fucking Jack Daniels chili with Fireball.
And they're both just looking at, and another thing, you piece of shit. Yeah.
One more thing.
Yeah.
It's that fucking uncle from Jackie Chan.
Uncle.
And one more thing, King John.
One more. Oh god, Uncle's the best.
Sorry, I'm pulling this story right off track.
Yeah. Anyway, George the fifth or fourth. I don't know. George the Fifth was in there, and he was in full army regalia in ceremonial military dress,
mech suit,
as they describe it, with all of his pendants and tokens of war. As I think he was a naval officer. I'm not too sure. Anyway,
like Robert Mugabe.
You.
Was it him? No, it wasn't him.
No. Garbs. I'm pretty sure Garbs did have quite a few medals.
Who's the one who had all the fake medals?
Which one? L. Ron Hubbard.
No, it's one of the African leaders. Never mind. I'm sorry again. Carry on.
Jisum with Tutu. Anyway, sorry, putting loads of thoughts on my head. Anyway, yeah. So George the fourth or fifth is in full ceremonial military garb and leaves the place and walks his own separate way. And the press officer walks up to Gandhi outside of this post meeting between the two of them, and George the fourth or fifth said, on his departure, said it was a fantastic and very good proposal and exchange of ideas, and I think it was well conducted between the two of us. And then Gandhi came out, and the reporter asked him what he said, and he said, yeah. And the reporter said, well, he kind of cut him off and said, well, what do you think you were wearing when you came in there in just a robe? And he was in full military garb, and Gandhi said, yes, well, the king was wearing enough for the both of us. And that's basically like the moral of the whole story. But I think there's a lot that one can extrapolate from that in terms of the simplicity of the comparison between two, because they're both smart buggers. They really are, because the jobs that you just get in the forced schooling and jobs from the king's side, regardless of what you believe about the patriarchy, and then also the other side of Gandhi, he was a British educated lawyer who moved back and was then Buddhicized through Hindu means. And then,
he wasn't always such a mystic.
Yeah, exactly. But that's his incredibleness, though, is that he was willing to just go into that. At the time he was alive. It was, you just didn't do what he did. You did not. It was incredible, and
he was like a Martin Luther King in the,
and he gave them
level of just not giving a fuck.
Exactly, and he gave them a big process of their business. He walked down to the seaside with them and showed them how to extract salt from the ocean. And so that is the reason why they have so many of the salt plains in India.
I forgot all about that aspect.
I might be Calcutta. I can't quite remember whereabouts.
I don't know,
but yeah,
I'd forgotten all about that. I thought,
and that is incredible. That is really such a special moment in human history. Regardless of what you think, that is a special moment. And I love things like that. Oh, another one that fucks my brain up. Sorry to keep badgering on. Another one that fucks my brain up, but I absolutely love it. Is the similarity. My mother and I have great discussions on this all the time because we always read something new about it between each time that we meet.
Yeah.
And one of them is the similarities between and the cousinship of George the Fourth, Kaiser Wilhelm II, and shot by Gabriel Prinket from the Black Hand Gang, World War II. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand, yeah. And it's the similarity between those three as well, and their relationship, which is so interesting. And from the post-Prussian process, the birth of that entire scenario.
Neither
do I.
I know that they say Ferdinand's assassination was kind of the kickoff for World War One.
Yeah, but it was also that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
There was tension,
but there was a fuckload of straws that arrived upon the camel's back pre.
The camel was very stressed.
Yeah,
the camel was taken. Some Xanax.
Taxi driver was putting a lot of cases on its back. There was a lot going on there. There was a big flux of tourism that year. It was poor camel, absolutely. But I love that whole period of history. I've gone right off the map here. I mean, I have definitely.
I kind of forgot where we started.
I always remember Greek heroes as being the first thing we discussed.
That was a while ago now.
I touched on your book slightly, but I didn't want to go too much into it because I didn't know if you wanted to do stuff for it lately.
I did a slight. I plugged myself when you went out of the room. I did show my blog.
Good.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I don't want to rinse any promo because it's totally unfinished and it's going to take me an awful lot of years before it is anyway. But I spoke more about the. Good
lord! I just realised. Yeah,
I said we were going to smash the record,
dude. This is 100% the longest podcast I've ever done. This is 2 1 hour 30 and 50 sets. So this is a very substantial podcast. Somebody has been jacked in all the way through.
I know. I reckon.
Whoever that is, I love you. Please, every single time there is a podcast or anything, you have my undying love and respect. And that is the reason.
We want you here.
You are the reason why we do this. Whoever you are, and whoever else logs in and is interested, but especially those people that are just willing to sit there.
That one live viewer.
Absolutely, and whether or not you're going,
you have our admiration.
Yeah, absolutely. This is that cheers just then was to you. I really was.
Absolutely. I hope you're drinking something nice.
Oh, somebody's coming in. You make these reasons and moments worth doing, and I think we're probably going to start rounding off now because we've got some people coming back. Absolutely. But yeah, the people are the reason why beautiful things like this can happen, and the reason why I can have such magnificent people on here because you are interested and you engage and you come in and you present your thoughts and feelings on it, or you present your willingness to view and to pay attention to what this is, and you have my undying gratitude and my thank you always.
Here's to many more years of happy podcasting.
Absolutely. On number 4. Magnificent. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege and all the rest of it.
Oh, shall we say sink, cheerio, and
down the hatch.
Down the hatch. Oh, good lord.
It's been a pleasure, you two. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Greg. It's been
honestly,
it's been wonderful pleasure in every sense of the word. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks, boys. Thank you, our one live viewer, and all the later on.
Fantastic. There's gonna be more. I mean, potentially next week, but
or you're viewing this in 2030 when Will's really popular, and you look back and he's like, the first ones that he did.
Shut up, dude. If in doubt, the week after that, I'll be having another incredibly interesting, awesome guest on, and Greg, I'm sure will hopefully get you on before the end of the year again. Hopefully with Dave. Who's going to be on for Dave's Lazarevic's first podcast over. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Always doing.
I'm falling through the chair.
He's falling through the chair. Ciao, beautiful people. Take care. Thank you.